Call to order this meeting of the Franklin Municipal Planning Commission for February the 27th, 2025. We will start with a roll call. Commissioner Allen.
Present.
Commissioner Franks.
Present.
Commissioner Harrison is absent tonight. Commissioner Lindsay is present. Commissioner Mann.
Present.
Commissioner McLemore.
Present.
Commissioner Orr.
Present.
Alderman Peterson.
Here.
And Commissioner Williamson.
Present.
This portion of our meeting, the citizen comments, is open for citizens to be heard on any issue or concern. If you would like to speak on a specific item on the agenda, please wait until the citizen comment period for that item. For all citizen comments, we ask you to fill out a speaker card at the table on the way in the room and hand it to one of our staff members. And then come up when it's your turn. I'll call you up to the microphone and then ask you to state your name and address, and then to limit your comments to 2 minutes. So are there any citizens who would like to speak to the commission at this time for items that are not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll start again with the approval of minutes. This is for consideration of approval of the January 23rd, 2025 Franklin Municipal Planning Commission minutes. Is there a motion for approval?
Chair.
Commissioner Alderman Peterson. And a second from Commissioner McLemore. Are there any comments or questions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, by roll call, Commissioner Allen.
Aye.
Commissioner Franks.
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye. Commissioner Mann.
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore.
Aye.
Commissioner Orr.
Aye.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Commissioner Williamson.
Abstain.
Great, thank you. The motion passes. Are there any announcements from staff?
No announcements tonight, thank you.
Okay. The next item is for consideration of approval of items for consent agenda, items that are generally considered to be non-controversial and that will be handled in one vote by the commission. These are items 3 through 6, and item number 13 will all be on the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to pull an item from consent? Seeing none, we'll proceed with our listing of items. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion for approval by Commissioner McLemore and a second by Commissioner Orr. By roll call, Commissioner Allen.
Aye.
Commissioner Franks.
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye. Commissioner Mann.
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore.
Aye.
Commissioner Orr.
Aye.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion passes for approval of the consent agenda items. Our next item on the agenda for tonight is going to be a public hearing item. This is for consideration of Resolution 2025-04, a resolution to adopt Amendment 6 to the Comprehensive Transportation Network Plan, otherwise known as the Major Thoroughfare Plan, an amendment related to updating the existing and proposed roadway network in the following 2 locations. The first location is the South Margin Street in downtown Franklin, and the second location will be Carruthers Parkway, south of Long Lane and east of Paytonsville Road in the Goose Creek area. So we'll start with a staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
I feel like we're playing an away game. I'll go through each item individually in this amendment. The first on your screen is the South Margin portion. This is in response to the proposed development of the Margin District with the proposal to realign the intersection with 9th Avenue and the Green. So the abandonment of the right-of-way is between Cummins and Columbia Avenue. the Margin District submitted a traffic impact analysis, so we analyzed this area. It's a little unpredictable where the new routing of traffic will flow, but we do anticipate higher volumes on Cummins Street and East Folk Street, which is just off your screen here to the south. The second, and if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me, but the second one is Carruthers Parkway, south of Long Lane and east of Paytonsville Road. This was in response to development, which you will hear about later this evening, the Erickson project, where South Carruthers Road previously, or currently I should say, is shown going through this property and then further south. That was drawn prior to the annexations that occurred in the area. There was extensive public outreach with this item done on behalf of the city by the developer, and several meetings over a long period of time to discuss this alignment. I think we went through 12 or so different options, and this is the one that was is where we landed. So with that, staff recommends approval, has no objections. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great, thank you. So it's time then for our public hearing. I will open our public hearing. If anybody would like to speak on this item.
Hi, my name is Greg Gamble, and unfortunately Pete Crutcher, one of the residents who owns about 40 acres on Paytonsville Road, has the flu tonight. So I told him I would come and speak on his behalf. But Amy, if you don't mind passing down the 8.5 by 11 flyers. Thank you. Between 2019 and 2022, about 850 acres of land were annexed into the city of Franklin in this area. Just this year, Planning Commission adopted an Envision Franklin Plan Amendment that contemplated the policies for future growth in this area. The map that you're looking at on the first page on the left shows the contemplation of Carruthers Parkway from around 2013. But it does show the land areas that have been annexed into Franklin since or prior to 2022. On the right side, we're showing the proposed alignment. If you look on the next page, then the orange highlighted properties are all property owners that disagreed with the alignment. Pete Crutcher is located approximately here on this map, and so Carruthers Parkway also went across his property. So he started working with his neighbors, talking with them about the alignment of Carruthers Parkway. Where do you want it to go? He took Jimmy and Paul on a four-wheeler and headed off into the woods, and they drove the route. This route that you're seeing over here in the proposed is in the green lots. These are all the property owners that agree with the new alignment. So I hope that's helpful. But a lot of work has gone into this, and I thought y'all would appreciate that. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in the public hearing? Seeing none, I will declare the public hearing closed. Is there someone here, the city's representing the applicant? Jimmy? Okay, are there any questions for Jimmy on these two items? Commissioner Mann?
Any additional costs with the new route that would it be more for the new route than it would the original route?
We actually, throughout this process, had design consultant look at pretty detailed design, more than we normally do. So it actually, and our biggest question was, because there's some significant hillsides in the area, are we going to have a lot more earthwork? That's probably the biggest cost associated with this. And it was shown that it was a little bit less, and given the property owners who are willing to participate in this and ultimately develop this property, there will likely be some savings with some spoils that occur on some of these properties. So it was really a joint effort from the property owners and the city from the analysis standpoint. So it's hard to say exactly today what those costs are, but
Sure.
Significantly, probably not that much different.
Thank you.
Chair.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I was saying because, okay. Oh, thank you. I see the red light. Jimmy, I noticed that you say that there may need to be some attention paid to East folks. I would like to say, because I travel that road quite often in my quest to get to the interstate. Not so often now that Matt Catcher is open, but I would like to say there will be a need, because at least when you're trying to use East folks now, even before the Lewisburg Pike work started, there is a definite bottleneck even before this abandonment. So I think probably we need to start looking at that and maybe talking with the board, because there is already a bottleneck now. If you're turning to go south on Columbia, there's a bottleneck now because of the timing of the light there. There's also, even if you're coming to go towards Lewisburg Pike. So I think we probably need to start taking a look at that seriously now, because otherwise that's going to go, it's probably, in my opinion, it's C minus D. It will go to HIJK if this happens. There's already a problem there, East folks.
And to respond to that a little, it's hard to determine driver patterns until it's done, but with the future signal that'll go in at South Margin and Lewisburg, we anticipate people turning left onto Lewisburg and then a right onto East Folks to get to Columbia potentially. Folks, I guess, could use Cummins as well. So, Folks is a collector roadway, so it could fall into that category of being funded by collector impact fees in the area as properties around here develop. So certainly something we're looking into.
Okay. Is there a motion on this side?
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out one additional thing from the staff report. For the realignment of Carruthers Road, planning staff will be, if this passes, will look at the design concepts in the area to ensure that we come forward with any amendments to Envision Franklin based on the new road alignment in the coming months if this is approved tonight.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Franks.
Second.
Is there any further discussion or questions? Seeing none by roll call. Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsey votes aye, Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion passes. Item number 8, consideration of ordinance 2024-50, an ordinance to rezone 1.95 acres from residential 4, R4 district, and mixed residential, MR district, to civic institutional, or CI district, for the property located north of Liberty Pike and east of Chestnut Lane at 104 Chestnut Lane. We'll start with staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property being in question tonight is currently comprised of 3 lots consisting of little less than 2 acres and is the location of the Christ Fellowship Church. Envision Franklin places the larger lot on Chestnut Lane within the historic residential design concept and the 2 lots along Liberty Pike within the mixed residential design concept. Both design concepts support institutional uses as a primary use with the added consideration that they do not adversely impact the surrounding neighborhoods. The church campus has been at that location for several decades, and the request to rezone to CI meets both the recommendations of Envision Franklin as well as the long-established use of the property. Staff recommends approval of ordinance 2024-50 to the board, mayor, and aldermen. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, does anyone from the public wish to speak to this item? Seeing none, is someone representing the applicant here?
Good evening. My name is Travis Briles, and I'm the pastor and one of the elders at Christ Fellowship Church.
Okay. Is there a motion on this item? We have a motion for approval by Commissioner McLemore,
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Allen. Are there any questions or discussion on the item? Seeing none, by roll call, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks. Aye. Commissioner Lindsay votes aye. Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you, Pastor. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry. Recommend to the Board of Mayor and Alderman. Okay. Item number 9, consideration of ordinance 2024-51, an ordinance to rezone 20.15 acres from planned PD 0.2 263-100 district, planned district, to planned PD 243-200 120 district for the property located north of Liberty Pike and east of Franklin Road at 230 Franklin Road, this being the factory at Franklin PUD. I will start with the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant has submitted a rezoning request to revise the entitlements for the factory at Franklin PUD subdivision in order to eliminate the established residential density, lower the amount of non-residential square footage, and add 120 hotel rooms on the property. The site consists of a little over 20 acres and is located within the factory design concept per Envision Franklin. The factory district is anchored by the factory at Franklin, which has been a defining community landmark since its opening in 1929 as an industrial campus for manufacturing goods. The vision of the district is to expand the types of uses found in the factory at Franklin to surrounding properties in order to create a memorable destination. The hotel use is supported within the district, provided that it is carefully designed to complement and support the historic factory buildings. The applicant has received a preliminary certificate of appropriateness from the Historic Zoning Commission for the scale and location of the proposed hotel. Rezoning with the revised entitlements is consistent with the recommendation of Envision Franklin and the factory district. Staff recommends approval of 2024-51 to the Board, Mayor, and Alderman. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, does anyone from the public wish to speak to this item? Seeing none, is there someone here representing the applicant?
Hi, Chairman and Plan Commissioners. Good night. My name is Greg Gamble, and I'm representing Holiday Properties. I'm here tonight with Alan Arender. I know that this first consideration is on the rezoning of the property that established these new uses. I do have a presentation tonight to just kind of bring you up to speed on where we are with our plan and the development plan. I can do that presentation now if you'd like
I'll do
before the
that
zoning.
now.
Great. Thank you, Joey. We've been keeping Joey on his toes with this one. Holiday's proposing a new 120-room hotel and a new 250-stall parking garage located here on the shown in blue on this bottom. What you're seeing here is existing conditions on the top, and then the proposed development on the bottom. In comparing the existing parking lot with the proposed, you can see that they will be reworking the design to be in compliance with the new standards of the zoning ordinance for landscaping and drive aisles. The new stormwater basin that is or this existing stormwater basin that's along the railroad track, that's problematic. It's going to be reconstructed as underground detention underneath the parking lot. So we're going to be removing that as well. A new entrance drive is going to be constructed at Daniels Drive, creating a four-way intersection for better traffic flow and pedestrian crossings. This will be a signalized intersection. A right-in, right-out is proposed near the railroad track to provide convenient access. There are 8 connections to the factory campus that are master planned to improve future circulation and connectivity. 2 to Franklin Road that exists today, 3 to Liberty Pike, we're adding a new one, and 3 future connections north toward Harpeth Industrial Road. The intersection of Liberty Pike and Daniels Drive is again planned to be signalized, and crosswalks, pedestrian crosswalks will be added in that location to make it safer to cross Liberty Pike. The hotel is located behind the main facade of the factory per the historic design guidelines. So this is one instance where, because the existing parking lots are between Liberty Pike and the buildings, we have to push the buildings, the new hotel back off the road so that it complies with the historic design guidelines, because it can't be in front of the building. The front facade will be 2 stories in height and will step up to 3 stories in line with the gable of the existing factory structures. The raised concrete pad will be removed outside of Liberty Hall and be replaced with a new courtyard adjacent to the hotel. This will be a great courtyard for small gatherings, a spill-out space after an event at Liberty Hall. It could be a place where cocktails could be served outside before you go to an event. A lot of opportunities there. We also see this courtyard as an opportunity to add public art in keeping with the character of the factory campus. Building 9 fronts onto where that courtyard is. We'll be keeping the facade, the historic facade of Building 9, but you'll see that inside of Building 9 is where we're going to put the hotel pool and outdoor lounge associated with the hotel. The sidewalk that runs along the front of Building 9 that goes from the parking lot to Studio 10's Theater and Mojo Tacos, that sidewalk will remain, and it will pass through an open paseo underneath the hotel. So pedestrians will still have access from the parking lot unobstructed all the way to Studio 10. This is a view of the hotel from Liberty Pike, and you can see its relationship with the front facade of the factory, as well as the hotel covered drop-off and valet, and the paseo from the parking lot. The new garage is located behind Building 3, tucked into the courtyard parking lot. It'll provide 125 parking stalls on 3 levels. Its design is planned to resonate with the factory's industrial character and be contextually sensitive to the existing historic architecture. Art is a very important aspect to the factory district and includes galleries, studio spaces, theaters, event spaces. It includes Rusty and Ken Means Carousel that's currently under construction. We are all excited about this new addition. The opportunities for more public art in the next phase of the factory will be working. The factory will be working on putting together RFPs to artists so that the artists can design and create authentic art to the factory's brand and history. Maybe, for example, rethinking how the train cars that are in the parking lot in the back could become a part of a sculpture or a bench or seating, or somehow a part of these public spaces, for example. Holiday's working with the City of Franklin and Williamson County Emergency Services to better address the factory buildings. Currently on Google or Waze, if you punch in to get to Liberty Pike, it gives you the Franklin Road address. And if you're not familiar with the factory, you end up parking on Franklin Road and then walking all the way through the factory to get to Liberty Hall. We're working with emergency services to identify suite numbers that can be used on these wayfindings, so that if you want to go to Liberty, you're going to be on that side. If you want to go to the hotel, you're going to be on that side of the factory, to better distribute the parking within the parking lot. The parking garage will have its own address for that same purpose. The improvements for the factory will be phased. Phase 1A will be constructed with approximately 119 new parking spaces, with the removal of the train cars and the construction of new spaces along Liberty Pike. Phase 1B includes the construction of the parking garage. That's going to be one of the very first things that they do. Phase 2 is the start of the hotel itself. It's going to take 18 to 24 months to construct the hotel, and while that's happening, these parking lot improvements are taking place. Phase 3A includes construction of the parking area beside the garage and the construction of the access at Daniels Drive. Phases 3B, 3C, and 3D represent how the parking lot construction would be phased to maintain parking spaces that are vital to the success of the businesses that are in the factory. In all three phases, Holiday would maintain more parking spaces than are currently at the factory. The construction of the parking areas would be completed prior to the opening of the new hotel. Oh, sorry, Joey. I meant to leave it on that one. Yeah. So there's one modification of standards that we're asking for tonight, and that modification of standards is to allow Holiday to use a surety bond in lieu of an irrevocable standby letter of credit, which is the requirement today. And when we get to that point in the development plan, I think both Alan and Emily can talk a little bit more about that as well. So happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion on this item? And I'm looking for a motion for recommendation of approval to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Move for approval or recommendation to the board, mayor and alderman.
By Commissioner Orr. Commissioner Williamson. Are there any further comments or questions? Seeing none, by roll call vote. Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye, Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion passes. Item number 10 is the development plan for that same project. This is for consideration of Resolution 2024-113, a resolution approving a revised development plan for the Factory at Franklin PUD subdivision with one modification of standards for sureties for the property located north of Liberty Pike and east of Franklin Road, located at 230 Franklin Road. I'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant has submitted a revision to the Factory at Franklin PUD subdivision to add a hotel consisting of 120 rooms to the property and construct a parking garage. The property consists of just over 20 acres and is located within the factory district design concept per Envision Franklin. Envision Franklin highly encourages additional public art and public art programming within the district. Public art provides many benefits, including enhancing the sense of place, encouraging public gathering and pedestrian walkability, and bringing art and artists to the public realm for citizens and residents to enjoy. The hotel use is supported, provided that it is carefully designed to complement and support the historic factory campus. The applicant has received a preliminary recommendation of approval from the Historic Zoning Commission for the scale and location of both the proposed hotel and parking garage. Additional public art locations are not documented in this plan. However, the applicant is aware of the goals of Envision Franklin and has stated that public art opportunities will be addressed at the site plan stage. The applicant has submitted a shared parking study that defines the peak parking periods based on both the existing and proposed uses for the Factory at Franklin. The parking study is included as an exhibit for your review. The study shows an overall reduction of 37% from 1,674 spaces to 1,058 spaces with the share factors incorporated. With the addition of the parking garage, the development plan is providing 1,066 spaces. There is one modification request in this plan that addresses surety requirements. Per this zoning ordinance, a letter of credit would be required for the associated sureties with the development plan. Staff has been researching the use of surety bonds and discussing with the Development Services Advisory Commission the merits of a potential zoning ordinance amendment to allow surety bonds instead of a letter of credit. Staff recommends approval of MOS number 1. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to approve Resolution 2024-113 with conditions. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Does anyone from the public wish to speak to this item? Seeing none. This development plan requires a separate vote for a modification of standards, so we'll start with a main motion. Is there a motion for this item? I'm sorry. You have anything further, Greg? I'm sorry.
Just here to answer any questions that you have. I hope my presentation was thorough and beneficial to you, but we're here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there a motion on this item? I need a motion to approve the recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Yes, sir. Second.
So we have a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen by Commissioner Franks, and a second by Commissioner Orr. We will go now to the request to allow a surety bond in lieu of an irrevocable letter of credit. Is there a motion for the modification of standards number 1?
Second.
So you have a motion to approve by Commissioner Franks, and a second by Commissioner Orr. Is there any discussion on the modification of standards number 1? Yes.
Can you just, staff, help us understand how you all got comfortable with that change?
Yeah, I can speak to that. Melody Brady and I researched bonds. We spoke to an insurance company agent as well, just to understand the basics of bonds, to understand how they were similar and different to letters of credit. They're very similar to letters of credit. We felt very comfortable after learning about them and looking at the templates used by AIA, that's the Architectural Institute of I can't remember their letters, architecture. Looking at their template and the standard language that we found from lots of different cities that use bonds, there were very similar things that we asked for letters of credit to do that bonds do today. Non-expiring, so they don't expire where we have to go back every year and get them reapproved. That's a standard procedure. The city is a beneficiary. The parameters of bonds are laid out in that document, how we call upon it if there is a default. And the fact that the insurance company is on the hook to complete the work somehow. They can either provide a contractor to do it, they could work with the original bondholder to get it done, or they can give us the money. But bottom line, the work gets done. So all of that included, we felt very comfortable with bonds as an option. At least to try it out here. We are also going to be bringing this to the Planning Commission and BOMA next month as a zoning ordinance amendment to potentially put this as a standard in the zoning ordinance going forward.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
And I guess my question was going to be the tracking of it, because the reason that Bradford Drive was put in right beside my house 5 or 6 years ago was because back in the day there was a bond by the I forget the man's name now. I forget, Mr. Scribner and those guys that were building Rolling Meadows, and it was never followed through, and that road was never built. And so I guess tracking, we will put in place some kind of tracking mechanism and make sure that that's followed through. Not to say they wouldn't, but as we enter into this world of bonds, something we aren't really doing now, because that's what happened in Rolling Meadows. There were several streets that are put in. If you look now, we have some abandoned right-of-ways, several places in Rolling Meadows where there's supposed to be roads built that were never, and bonds were used in Rolling Meadows.
Yeah, we've been looking at that over the last several years about how we get off these bonds, get them work completed at a much faster rate.
Okay.
We've introduced certificates of occupancy and use for sites so that before buildings get final completions and COs for their buildings, they have to get a sign off of the site, meaning improvements are done and the bonds have moved from performance to maintenance.
Okay.
So we're looking at it much more holistically as a city so that we don't have that situation anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions, comments? Seeing none by roll call. Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks.
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye. Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson, and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion passes for the approval of modification of standards number 1. We now go back to the main motion. It's a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, made by Commissioner Franks, seconded by Commissioner Orr, including now the approval of the modification of standards. Is there any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, by roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks.
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye. Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion passes, so that item is approved. Next item is item number 11, consideration of ordinance 2024-43, an ordinance to rezone 70.57 acres from agricultural AG district to planned PD 17.71, 172,000 district for the property located east of Paytonsville Road and north of Paytonsville Road, the Erickson Senior Living PUD. We'll start with staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the next two items regarding the Erickson Senior Living PUD, we're aware of an error in the public notification letter that incorrectly listed a parcel that is actually nowhere near the subject property. That was included in error, and the plan being presented tonight does not propose annexing any parcels into the city or within the PUD itself, although the land that's being discussed here tonight has already been annexed into the city. So we apologize for any confusion that may have caused. So the applicant is requesting to rezone over 70 acres located east of Paytonsville Road to planned district with the proposed entitlements of 17.71 dwelling units per acre and 172,000 square feet of non-residential space to accommodate the Erickson Senior Living PUD subdivision. Envision Franklin places this property in the regional commerce design concept. For regional commerce, Envision Franklin state that these areas contain high-intensity activity centers that attract large numbers of people and employers from both within and outside of the city. These areas include major employment and revenue generators that are valuable community resources, which while also providing a mix of housing options that support a healthy, vibrant place to work, live, and play. The primary uses of multifamily housing and continuum of care are supported within the regional commerce design concept. Staff recommends approval of 2024-43 to the Board, Mayor, and Alderman. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great. Does anyone from the public wish to speak to this item? Thank you.
Good evening.
Mike Woodside?
I'm Mike Woodside at 4420 Paytonsville Road. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of my mom, who's 92 years old, can't be here tonight. She's a lifelong resident of Williamson County. Her family farm is adjacent around the corner on Long Lane, is now the Williamson County Ag Center. So longtime roots in this county. Her land, which is just north of the proposed development, it's less than 500 feet. I don't know the exact, but it's pretty close to the development. So I just want you to know, last night her words to me was, just tell them to please leave me alone. She'd really like to be there to live out her last days. But while we know development's on the way, it's upsetting for my mom, mainly to see her land being acquired as part of this, as part of the road frontage that's I think the city has put on them. I think it's also important to note that my mom's land is still in the county and not part of the city. So we've had discussions with the city, which we're thankful for. Been very open and upfront with us. I just want to make sure that I understand what's being proposed, that the part that is taking part of her land for the road development, I just want to make sure that I understand that it's upon the applicant to make sure that it's on them to work with us and acquire that land. So Thanks for your time and listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Adam Balish. I'm sorry, that's the next item. Is there anyone from the applicant present for this item?
Yes, hi. Again, my name is Greg Gamble, and I'm representing Erickson Senior Living. I have a quick presentation on this one as well that'll also kind of get you up to speed since the joint conceptual workshop. It may be beneficial to kind of see how the plans evolved a little bit. Thank you. Would it be appropriate to do that now while we're talking about the rezoning?
Yeah.
So Erickson Senior Living is based in Baltimore, Maryland. They're one of the top 5 senior providers in the United States, and they are the owner-operator of all of their campuses. They currently have over 30,000 residents in 11 states. Erickson's model is a CCRC, Continuum of Care Retirement Community. The CCRC model includes independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, and memory care facility all on the same campus. Residents pay a refundable fee for their 1 to 2 bedroom home and a monthly fee for meals and hospitality services. The average age of a resident in an Erickson community is 80. Erickson communities are all custom to the town or community where they are built, and Erickson is striving to make this one in Franklin. A typical Erickson community has 500 employees in healthcare, dining services, operations, hospitality, and security. The campus master plan includes a wide range of amenities for the residents, including programmed social events, indoor pool and spa, indoor and outdoor pickleball, and transportation, to name a few. The property that Erickson's planning to develop is approximately 68 acres located on the east side of Paytonsville Road, just east of Berry Farms Reams Fleming. With the recent adoption of Envision Franklin, this special consideration was added for this policy area east of Paytonsville Road and south of Goose Creek Bypass. The following are encouraged to reduce demand of the transportation network. Uses with non-peak generating patterns, small-scale offices, local commercial uses, institutional uses, and residential uses. The Erickson Master Plan includes 1,250 independent living units and 188 units for assisted living. The assisted living facility is located right here. This is kind of that building number 7 area. The buildings are located 150 and 200 feet from Paytonsville Road to protect the view shed and to give the opportunity to create 2 small stormwater facilities on each side of the main entrance coming in. We would love for those to be standing water with fountains in them. That's a part of our engineering process, so we're not exactly sure if we're going to be able to do that, but that's what we'd like to do at the end along Paytonsville Road. Sorry. Okay. A new private street with public access will be provided north-south, parallel to Paytonsville Road, to provide future connectivity to the neighboring properties. So this would be a private street, but public access easement. The campus is gated with 24-hour on-site security. The security personnel are trained EMTs to assist with medical emergencies. The training efforts, Erickson's team, the ability to handle many emergencies like falls without calling 911. This is a big differentiator to other senior facilities in our area. Security personnel will be located at the main entrance, located here, and the second access here to the assisted living facility would be a gated access as well. All of the surface parking lots on the campus are located in the rear of the buildings, out of view from the internal street network. So located in the back. You can see them here surrounded by the buildings. So they're framed in all cases by the new proposed building. This map shows the location of parking that's going to be under the building. So this is going to be garage parking that's tucked under. 39% of the parking in this master plan is under the building. 23% of the parking is in carports. 13% is on-street parallel parking for guests. And 25% of the parking is surface parking for residents and employees. The campus is designed with a collection of 3 to 6 story buildings, all interconnected with indoor air-conditioned bridges. The bridges provide an internal pathway for residents to get around on the campus in all weather. And you can see one here about in the middle of the screen. Of course, residents are encouraged to get outside and enjoy the parks throughout the campus. These outdoor spaces make getting outside a very enjoyable experience. The scale of the campus allows Erickson to provide services and amenities that are unmatched in senior living. Erickson provides a long list of amenities, including 5 restaurants, all with real restaurant experience, not a cafeteria. Indoor theater, indoor pool, indoor fitness, indoor and outdoor games and pickleball and community gardens. A great central park with a small amphitheater, shade structure, and gardens. The residents at Erickson's facilities are typically driving between the 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. They do not like to be on the road during peak times. The shift changes for staff are also in non-peak times, being 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. We believe that this use aligns with the intent of the Envision Franklin Special Consideration, and that encourages uses with non-peak trip generation patterns. You can see here that the campus contributes a very low volume in comparison to Reams Fleming and other existing traffic development. This brown that you're seeing at the top, that's Erickson's contribution to existing traffic and also the background traffic with proposed development. We're at 12%, 7%, 10%, and 7%. Across the board here. The lower bar graph shows a comparison between the senior living and a typical apartment development that's the same size. So the daily trips are about 1/3 here in the daily, and you can see that reflected in the AM and the PM peak hours, that reduction in trips. It's not surprising that the midday trips would be about the same as what an apartment would be if apartment of users have left for work or they're at work and the seniors are at home. That's really when they like to be in their vehicles. Paytonsville Road will be improved to collector standards. A 4-lane median divided boulevard shown here. This is not a requirement of the traffic study for Erickson to do these improvements, but it's at the request of the city engineer for a private developer to construct a capital improvement project that has been funded by BOMA. So that's the improvements that you're seeing here along the frontage of the development. Erickson will be providing right-of-way for the roadway and constructing the median and 2 of the 4 lanes on their side of the right-of-way. Only 1 southbound lane will exist until completed by future development. So we've got 2 lanes on this side of the median, and then we have 1 lane that's on this side of the median. Erickson will be providing safety improvements to the curve in Paytonsville Road to make this a safer experience during the day and at night. Off-site sewer will be constructed to the already recorded easements across Berry Farms, Reams Fleming, and a new 2 million gallon water tank, shown here with this blue dot, will be constructed north of Goose Creek Extension with water main extensions parallel to Paytonsville Road. Headed to the south, this tank will provide water service for the newly annexed area in this region, so the additional 850 acres we had talked about. We have a few modification of standards. These all relate back to the fact that the residents have needs, and the mobility is one of them, as well as their security. So the first one is a modification of standards to locate loading areas to the side of the building. So our parking lots, if you remember, are all in the back. That's where the residents are coming and going. We want to make sure that the trucks that are loading are on the side and not back where the residents are parking. This includes the motor courts that are located in the front of the building, where van pickup or shuttle pickup are going to be picking those up. Those are also considered loading areas in your zoning ordinance because you're loading people. So that's modification of standards number 1. Modification of standards number 3 is requesting that the finished floor elevation be at ground level instead of raised 18 inches off the ground. That's for ADA accessibility. Modification of standards 5, this is requesting to reduce the parking requirement for multifamily from 1.5 to 1.2 per units. All 3 of these modification of standards have been supported by staff in their review. Modification of standards number 4 is a request to remove the required eastern connection for external connectivity. The request is due to the security of the campus. This is going to be a fenced campus and the security for the residents. We have worked closely with our neighbors to the north and south, and they concur with the addition of the local network shown here in orange. So there's a road here in orange that connects in 2 locations back to the north to the future Goose Creek bypass. And then here's a road here in orange. So we've got the private street that goes north-south that's going to have a public access easement on it. And then we have 2 future local roads that are going to be shown on Connect Franklin and the major thoroughfare plan. And one more paragraph. Sorry, I know, Amy. So this will be on the included in the major thoroughfare plan as well. The neighbors agree to these. The last piece is in modification of standards number 2. This is a request to modify the maximum block length to 6,200 linear feet. The block length is shown here in purple. It's the outside purple edges that are going around, and is measured the entire area around the block. The block is separated blocks are all separated by public streets, private drives, or internal drives, which we don't have any in this large block area. A maximum block length is established in the ordinance to maintain convenient pedestrian and automotive circulation. With Erickson's residents, this convenience is provided in a different way. The red lines on this map show the internal connectivity from building to building throughout the air-conditioned corridors. The green shows the interconnectivity of exterior sidewalk system, including linking the parks and open spaces throughout the campus. The connectivity is not compromised as a result of the block length. We're actually just handling it in a different way. We're handling it internally inside the buildings. We're happy to answer your questions, and thank you for letting me go long.
Great, thank you. Okay, this is an ordinance to rezone. Will be followed with the next item, which will be the development plan for this project. So I need a motion to recommend approval to BOMA.
Make a motion to recommend approval of BOMA. Second.
Is there any discussion? Questions? Seeing none, by roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye, Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion passes. The next item is item number 12. This is consideration of Resolution 2024-96, a resolution approving a development plan for Erickson Senior Living PUD subdivision with 5 modifications of development standards. One for building elements, connectivity, and parking for the property located east of Paytonsville Road and north of Paytonsville Road, located at 4424, 4428, 4430, and 4440 Paytonsville Road. We'll start with staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant has submitted a development plan for the Erickson Senior Living PUD subdivision, which proposes a campus of 1,250 residential dwelling units that are age-restricted and 172,000 square feet of commercial space for continuum of care services. Envision Franklin places this property in the regional commerce design concept. Envision Franklin states that new development within regional commerce should have integrated designs with coordinated access, amenities, and cohesive architecture that fits within the context of the corridor. The Erickson PUD subdivision provides a cohesive, pedestrian-friendly plan that incorporates both housing and continuum of care services for older demographics. There are 5 modification of standard requests in this plan that address building elements, connectivity, and parking. MOS number 1 is requesting to allow loading areas to be located to the side of buildings. The zoning ordinance states that on-site loading areas shall be located to the rear of the building. The applicant has limited these areas to certain spots on the plan and has provided additional screening methods for these loading areas. Staff recommends approval of MOS number 1. MOS number 2, they are requesting to modify the maximum block length to 6,200 square feet. The zoning ordinance states that block length perimeter shall not exceed a maximum of 2,400 square feet, except when the DRT may approve a block length perimeter up to 3,200 square feet. The proposed length is nearly double the maximum of what is permitted, including more public streets throughout the plan, where there are now only parking lot drive aisles could achieve this design standard. However, it is the intention of the applicant to have a secure site through the development. Staff recommends disapproval of MOS number 2. MOS number 3 is a request to allow the finished floor elevation to be at ground level. The zoning ordinance requires that finished floor elevation be a minimum of 18 inches above grade at the facade. Given the demographics of those who will be occupying the building and that similar requests have been previously approved, this request can be supported. Staff recommends approval of MOS number 3. Request to remove, MOS number 4 is a request to remove the required eastern connection for external connectivity. The zoning ordinance requires that external connections shall be provided in every direction, north, south, east, and west. Because the major thoroughfare plan was amended tonight with the relocation of Carruthers Parkway, the staff is supportive of this request and is recommending approval of MOS number 4. MOS number 5, the request to reduce the parking requirement for multifamily residential units, age restricted from 1.5 spaces per unit to 1.2 per unit. The ordinance requires that multifamily residential units with age-restricted tenants have a minimum parking standard of 1.5 spaces per unit. The applicant has cited national parking standard manuals and the fact that their minimum parking numbers for similar uses are much lower than than the request of 1.2 spaces per unit. Because of this included data, coupled with the numbers of on-site amenities reducing generated trips, staff can support the MOS request and is recommending approval of MOS number 5. So because the amendment to the major thoroughfare plan was approved tonight, staff is recommending approval of Resolution 2024-96 to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen with conditions. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions for staff?
I say on parking, you said that the applicant must put on the plans that it's 1.1 per employee as far as parking is concerned.
We are working that with the applicant to address the breakdown of the employees and for visitors for both continuum of care and the residents for the multifamily units.
Okay.
And can I just clarify, the 1.1 that's in the condition of approval is for the continuum of care.
Okay.
The MOS is for the multifamily
Okay.
independent units,
Which
and
is
that is
separate.
1.2.
I was wondering about that. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Okay. Does anyone from the public wish to speak to this item?
Hi, my name is Luke Beecham, and I represent my parents, Wallace Beecham and Louise Jordan Beecham. Just a quick history of who we are. We own 130 acres on we are the land, everything on the east side of this property we own. A little background, this man, Freeman Walker Jordan, was born in 1804 in Williamson County, 221 years ago. And we ended up owning a big farm in Cool Springs where he married a Carruthers. So it's sort of funny that the Carruthers Road was going to be coming through, which is, we've been working with Jimmy Wise. We're okay with the everything that's going on and the road. What I want to say is 138 years after he was born, my grandfather, Walter Jordan, bought the farm that's on Paytonsville Road. And this is the survey that we've had done, completed by a very reputable firm. And our interest is that there's a lot of illustrations of the Erickson development, and a lot of them encroach over into our farm. And so a lot of the newer ones do not. there on the line, but it is a straight line, as indicated in the survey, as it has been since 1942, when my grandfather bought the farm. And so we just want to be sure during the construction process that the boundary is respected, and that during the construction process there's not going to be any encroachment over onto our property. Otherwise, we are okay with the development as is, and have no problems with it.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Adam Balish. Adam, do you?
Good evening. My name is Adam Balish. I'm here tonight representing Reams Fleming Partnership, who is the landowner directly across the street to the west of this property for the entirety of the property length. And we would respectfully ask the Planning Commission to defer this agenda item for 1 month. The reason being, we were presented with the plan for the first time today and don't believe the access points line up with the approved access points for Reams Fleming, including the boulevard cuts and the proposed alignment to Paytonsville Road. We have no problem with the plan, the zoning, or anything else, but would like an opportunity to engage with the developer and with city staff to further understand the implications of the changes to the access points and the road construction on Paytonsville Road. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
So could I ask what the staff thinks about deferring for a month?
We did discuss this. I've talked with Adam today and talked with the applicant. There is an option because ultimately Paytonsville Road is a funded project on our CIP. And there's a comment or a condition of approval, number 2, in your packet if you want to take a look at that. Whether you could defer the item, that is an option, obviously, or we could work through the improvements on Paytonsville at the board level. So at the end of condition of approval number 2, the statement of or else otherwise modified by the board of mayor and aldermen could be added, and that would give the board and staff and the applicant and Boyle time to work through those details. That's an option too. So either deferral or add that language to the end of that condition, because that's where that's the only one that speaks to the improvements and the median and the widening. So I'll leave that to you to decide. And then if you leave it at that, it wouldn't come back to this body necessarily. So
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve this tonight. Let the BOMA handle this. I feel like the Erickson folks have got the same engineer that Reams Fleming has. Is that correct? Y'all have the same engineer? Kimberly Horn? So y'all studied all that traffic through there, and Reams is not ready to come with a development plan, correct? But this project is ready. And so the alignment, I mean, can you clarify some of that, Greg? If it's appropriate.
This roadway that was reviewed with Boyle this morning is a capital improvement project provided to Erickson by the city of Franklin. Erickson has no problem working with Boyle and the city of Franklin on the road alignment. We would ask that you would consider recommending this to BOMA, giving us the ability to work out the plans before BOMA votes on it with the second reading. We have 2 months before we get to that point. I think we can do that. We're happy to sit down with Boyle and the city of Franklin, but this is a capital improvement project really driven by the engineering department, not by Erickson. So
Okay.
we're happy to work through it.
And so, Jimmy, your language on condition of approval number 2, is that consistent with what Mr.
yes, so
Campbell-
that would allow us time to it would allow the board to make a change to that condition of what the scope of the improvements, so whether they shrink or grow. It would allow the board to make that determination at that time.
Okay. So y'all make that change to the condition. I know.
Okay, no.
Mr. Franks, we need a motion recommending approval to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Are you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're good with that. Is there a second? Okay. With the, if you're willing to amend,
Amend
as
the
part of your
condition.
motion, to amend the condition of
What
approval.
Jimmy spoke about, yeah.
Okay.
Right, I just wanted to be clear that if you're going that direction, that is what's happening. The motion would be to approve with the modification or change to the condition to improve the or to include the language that Mr. Wiseman recommended.
Okay. And it's a recommendation of approval to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. And this is a main motion.
Yes.
We still have MOSs to deal with. So, okay, so we have a motion to recommend approval with the amended language to the condition. And it's been seconded by Commissioner McLemore.
Do I need to state the sentence again for the record, just to be sure? So at the end of condition of approval number 2, the language that would be added would say, unless otherwise modified by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Okay. Are there any other questions? So we'll go now to the modifications of standard. Modification of standards number 1. Requesting to allow loading areas to be located to the sides of buildings.
Chair, I move for approval of modification of standard number 1.
Is that you, Nick? Okay. So you have a motion to approve modification of standards number 1 by Commissioner Allen, seconded by Commissioner Mann. Is there any discussion? Seeing none by roll call, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks.
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye. Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
The motion passes for the approval of modification of standards number 1. MOS number 2 is the request to modify the maximum block length to 6,200 feet.
Recommend approval of modification number 2.
We have a motion to recommend approval, or to approve.
To approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
And since that's going against staff recommendation, I just wanted to clarify that I'm okay with this because of the overall context. I mean, this is kind of a square peg in a round hole. You don't see developments come across with indoor, elevated sidewalks, so to speak, or walkways. So I think there's plenty of connectivity that I think the concerns that standard is intended to address are not applicable here.
Okay. Okay.
Say also that I agree also with that.
Staff, could you, I don't think that's why, well, I won't
Don't
speak for
pull that
staff.
Number 2 back up.
Can you put,
Can we
Jimmy
get
wants to see number 2.
modification standard pulled back up on this monitor?
I don't think that's why they recommend you do.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, it's condition of modification standard number 2. Jimmy wants to see modification standard number 2, please.
Thank you. I'm okay with it.
I will not be supporting this modification of standard, so I'll just go on the record and I'll leave it there. All right.
Any other questions?
I'd just like to hear from
staff what the intent of this zoning ordinance is. What is it trying to accomplish? Because I'm not as familiar of the intent on that one is.
It's more to break up the building, so it's not just like a monolith of like, you know, multi-thousand square feet of just a singular building. So, and it just kind of get it more pedestrian oriented rather than, you know, on the outside as well. And we are aware of the use and what the applicant is trying to accomplish with having the modification here. It's just a pretty severe jump going from what can be approved at 3,200 to 6,200. So we just felt it was best to recommend disapproval for this modification.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Mann, seconded by Commissioner Franks. So by roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Nay.
Commissioner Franks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes no. Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion passes. The approval of MOS number 2. Okay, MOS number 3 is a request to allow the finished floor elevation to be at ground level. Is- Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
I know staff supports this one. Kind of to Commissioner Orr's question before, what was the rationale for this standard? Is that, you know, to prevent water rising, give it a gap? Why do we have that standard?
It's more for aesthetics.
Aesthetic?
Essentially, it's more so that it doesn't appear that the building just is sitting on the ground. It gives it more of a defined base, so more aesthetics, architectural features.
So it's not a safety feature, the reason it's elevated, or that's not at its core. Okay.
It's mostly requested in single-story houses, older people. We built so many ramps over these elevated houses nowadays that are required to be 18 inches. The older they get, the more ramps you get out there that are temporary. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, and especially when you get a facility like this, you need those zero ground entries.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And just to
Get called to come build a facility, a ramp.
And just a final point of clarification, there's not any mapped floodplain on this site, is there?
There's not any floodplain mapped on this property.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, we have a proper motion and a second by Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye, Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion passes. Modification of standards number 4 is a request to remove the required eastern connection for external connectivity. And since the amendment is passed, staff recommends approval on this item.
Recommend approval of modification standard number 4.
Okay. Motion for approval by Commissioner Mann, seconded by Commissioner McLemore. Is there any discussion? By roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye, Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion for approval of the removal of the connectivity passes. Modification of standards number 5 is a request to reduce the parking requirement for multifamily residential units, age restricted from 1.5 spaces per unit to 1.2 per unit.
modification of standard number 5.
A second?
Second. Second.
Mr. Franks. We have a motion to approve modification of standards number 5 by Commissioner Mann, seconded by Commissioner Franks. Is there any discussion? By roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks.
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye. Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
The motion passes. So we go back to the main motion. So we have a main motion to recommend approval to BOMA with conditions as amended, condition number 2, and we have 5 approved modifications of standards for this item as well. Is there any further discussion on this item,
Do we need to vote on that amendment
on the amendment?
to add Jimmy's language? Do we need to
We added it to the main motion.
add it to the main motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just making sure.
It's
The
been-
only thing I wanted to say, I just wanted to quickly address the gentleman's concern about the property line. Just because I don't want to come across as discounting that, because we spend a lot of time addressing the access. I mean, that sounds like a private property line potential dispute, I guess. And I don't know that there's anything that this commission can do about it. But I did want to recognize the concern and but I don't think that's anything we can do about it. I think that's a private property between you and the Erickson owner. So I wish you all the luck there. I just don't think we can do much about it here.
I'll address the construction. I mean, there will be a limits of disturbance that's required on construction site that they're not allowed to cross over as with any development. So
Yeah.
that should be, once we get the site plan, we'll know more about that, but that should be well away from the property line anyway. So it should be taken care of at the site plan stage.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, by roll call vote, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks.
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye. Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
That motion passes. Is there any further business? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
By roll call, Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Franks,
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay votes aye. Commissioner Mann,
Yes.
Commissioner McLemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Orr,
Aye.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Williamson.
Aye.
Good. We are adjourned.